What is up, everybody? It is Drew, Travel Liberty Abyss here with an updated Mermail deck profile. I just went to locals today. It wasn't a huge locals, so we just played 3 rounds. I went 2-1. I ended up getting second place. I played against Flandres in round 1 and I beat that. Round 2 I lost to the Shizu tier, and round 3 I beat Leader Lost Tri Brigade. So it wasn't a super big locals, nothing crazy, but it was still a locals regardless, and I brought water. Everybody loves to see my water deck profiles, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. After playing, there's definitely a lot of changes I want to make, but we'll talk about it as we get to them. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And before we do, if you're not subscribed already, make sure you go ahead and smash the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload more cool and awesome content like the video you're watching right now. And and make sure the video gets a thumbs up because it's always appreciated. And without further ado, let's dive right on in. All right, so as many of you know, I really have not played much this format. I do not like this format at all. I think this may be the most toxic Tier 0 format that I've ever been a part of. I've been playing this game since it came out, and like literally in the 20 years that I've been playing this game, I've never seen a format more toxic than this one. So I haven't uploaded anything in like almost a month and a half because I just didn't have any motivation, will, drive, or need to. But now that I just went back to locals today for ha-has and got second place, I'm going to show off my profile. So the Mermail stuff, we played 3 Abysseus, 1 Megalo, 1 Pike, and 1 Gund. I did kind of miss playing more than 1 Megalo, but like I don't think it's completely necessary to play more than 1. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. This ratio was okay. It worked out fine for me. Moving on to the Atlanteans. 3 Neptibus, 3 Dragoon, and 3 Infantry. I think this was completely proper. All these came up quite a bit, like very, very frequently these came up. So I thought that this was perfect. I didn't want to change any of this, and I don't think I will change any of it going forward. We played 3 Diva and 2 Minstrel. There were some times where I wish I played a 3rd Minstrel, but I don't think it's completely necessary. So yeah, 2 Minstrel is fine. If you want to play the 3rd, go for it, but I got away with 2 and it was fine. Diva 3 was obviously what you need to play. The frog stuff, played triple swap, 1 dupe, and 1 sub. So these are probably getting cut. I want to put the nimble engine in here instead, and I summoned dupe frog once today, and I summoned substitute once today, and when I summoned it, I had already gone through all my frogs, so it didn't even matter. So yeah, the triple swap is fine, but like just cut the dupe and the substitute. They don't do anything. Your hand has to be too specific for them to actually function. Then I played some Ice Jade cards. I played 2 Tremora and 1 Adrian. I think this is interesting. Now, when we get to the spells, you'll see that I play 2 Cradle. I think that you can play 1 Cradle, arguably, or you could cut both Cradles and the Adrian and just play Tremoras. This card, like, it was terrible. Like, don't get me wrong, searching for Cradle was good, and then grabbing Tremora was good, but like I don't know, I think that this card and Cradle are easily cuttable, and you could just play like 2 of this, because literally this is basically there just to get out your Neptibus before your normal summon. So like you don't need this. Like it's just kind of useless. So yeah, the 2 Tremoras were cool. The Adrian was just subpar. Then the 1-ofs, we played 1 Lapis, 1 Glacia, and 1 Gamseel. Gamseel never came up. Moon Glacia came up once. I summoned this card 1 time, and Lapis Dragon came up once. So yeah, I want to keep the Gamseel in because it's a good target for Small World. That's really the only reason I have it in, though, because there was nothing that I had to like tribute over the entire day. So yeah, these were all kind of subpar, not gonna lie. Like they were extremely subpar, but they are cards that are a little more required. moving on to the spells, I played a lot of 2-ofs. I played 2 Talents, 2 Cradle, 2 Small World. So the Cradles came up an okay amount. I probably activated Cradle 3 times today, which isn't bad. I activated Small World once or twice, I think twice. I activated Talents twice, which was pretty cool. So they all saw their fair share of play. But like I said, the Cradle isn't like a necessity. It's not completely required in the deck. Then the 1-ofs, I played 1 Aria, 1 Mizuchi, and 1 Called By. I resolved each of these at least once. I think Called By I resolved once. I think Mizuchi I resolved 2 or 3 times. I didn't see Aria once. This card got sided out almost every single game. This card might get cut from my list. Like, I just do not like this card anymore. I never see it, even like, granted I played as a 1-of, so I'm going to see it less anyways, but there's never a situation where I'm like, oh man, I wish I had Aria right now. It just doesn't come up. So yeah, I think these 2 are okay. Call By is obviously a god card, but I don't know, considering the whole Mudora and Keldo stuff, like, I almost feel as if this card is kind of subpar, because like, you target their card and then they just chain and they shuffle back, and then it just feels bad. So yeah, Called By is okay, but it's nothing fantastic. Yeah, there's definitely a lot that could be cut here, but that's the main deck. It was 40 exact. I'm gonna hop on over to the extra and show you what the extra look like, and I'll definitely talk about my revisions that I'll be making there as well. All right, so extra deck time. I played 2 copies of Toad and 1 copy of Bahamut. There were a lot of times where I wish I had a second Bahamut and a 3rd Toad, so there's a strong chance that I'll be adding those in because of that. I think that it's very important to have those kinds of combos open. So yeah, these are probably going to increase in their quantities, which I think is definitely important. Then 1 Dweller. I didn't make it once today. Like, even against the tier player, like, my hands were so subpar for the most part that, like, this just didn't come up. I didn't have any situations where I could make it, which was unfortunate. Then we played the 1 Gigantic Sprite because, like, you just play a few Sprite cards in here and it's really good. 1 Gaios. It didn't come up. There was one situation where it could have. Against the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk player, he flipped, this was in game 3, he flipped Sanctum and summoned a Scythe, and I was still able to get 5 water monsters on board and hit him for a bunch of damage, and there was only like 2 minutes left on the clock. He drew for turn, and he had bricked that game, so he literally had to set Sanctum, Imperm, and pass on his turn 1, and I just, like, was able to hit him for enough damage, and then time started to wear down, and I just played through his life points. So yeah, Gaios could have come up though, because I did have a Megalo and a Teus on board. It didn't come up though because I was locked out of my extra deck, but it didn't matter because I still won that game. Then this is the engine that I'm cutting, the 3 Goyo Defenders. This is here for if you open up Diva, because you can do your searches off of your Neptibus, and then you can synchronize this with Diva and Neptibus, and then you can make Bujinki Ahashima, and then it lets you go into a Bahamut Shark. This engine never came up, not a single time. These will probably be taken out for a 3rd Toad, a 2nd Bahamut, and a Sprite Sprint. That's probably what's going to happen. This engine was actually terrible. Like, I did not like this at all. I literally felt like I was playing with a 12-card extra deck the entire tournament. So yeah, we're not going to be playing Goyo Defenders anytime soon. Then the links, 1 Elf, because it's amazing in this deck. The Ahashima will still come up regardless of playing Goyo Defender or not. This card comes up a lot, so definitely keep playing this. Abyss Keeper came up, I think, 1 time, maybe 1 time. A lot of times I would summon this just so I had something to overlay with another level 2 to make the Gigantic Sprite. So yeah, this card was kind of subpar, but it wasn't the worst. It could be the Water Charmer area if you want it to be. So yeah, you could do that instead. Oh, I don't need to put those away yet. I have other link monsters to show off. We played the 1 Lachia. I summoned this, I think, twice. I never resolved its effect though, because my board had gotten Dark Rulered, so it didn't do anything. Didn't really matter. Oh no, it didn't get Dark Rulered. I'm sorry. I was under M-Pen against Flu, so I never got to resolve this card. But still a good card in theory. Still a good card. I did equip Mizuchi to it, so that was good. The Anemone. This card helps you enable your lock with the last card in our extra deck, which is Zealantis. I Zealantis locked the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk player in Game 2. Game 1, I bricked, so I just scooped it up. I didn't play a single card. Game 2, I ended the game with the Zealantis lock with the Anemone, and I brought this back with a Toad, and he had no other plays that he could do, so that was pretty good. But yeah, Anemone is crazy. It's the only reason that I actually chose to play Substitute, because you can bring Substitute back with Anemone. But even then, like, there wasn't a single time where I would have been able to do so, because I would just get like hit with hand traps. I'd get hit with, you know, some sort of effect negation, or I would just be way too far behind on resources. Like it was a very, very tough played tournament, honestly, even though the decks I played against weren't like amazing. My hands were very subpar, and I had to make the best with what I could. So there's a lot of boards that were just ending on like Sprite, Elf, and a Toad. Like that was all that I could end on for a lot of the games, which is unfortunate. But there's a few games where I did end on double Toad and Elf and the Lachia, but then I got Dark Rulered, so it doesn't even matter. And I didn't have Mizuchi up because I was locked in level 2s. So yeah, level and rank 2s. So yeah, that was kind of unfortunate, but I think that these cards will probably all stay. I think. Yeah, that's the extra deck. Let's take a look at the side decks. You can see the funny stuff I was siding against everyone today. All right, so funny thing is I was actually going to play Dark World today. I forgot to mention this earlier, and for whatever reason, my heart just said that I should play Water, so I went with Water. I probably could have gotten first if I played Dark World, to be perfectly honest, because that deck is crazy, but that's okay. I'm going to show you guys what I was siding though. One of the cards that I was siding is for something like Dark World, and that is Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is a fantastic card against a lot of stuff. I sided it against Fluanderies, which was fantastic. This card's really good against Flu. They can't do too much, so yeah, this card did come up, so it kind of helped me win my game against Fluanderies, which is fantastic. Then for the spells, I sided 3 Dark Ruler, which I never resolved, 3 Raigeki, which I did resolve, 3 Lightning Storm, which I also resolved, and 3 Evenly, which I used to bait out a negation. So yeah, basically I played 1 hand trap in that of Droll, and then I just played 4 board breakers. Most of the time I sided out my entire spell and trap lineup in the main deck, which is 8 cards for these, and then I would side out another monster and just go ahead and play 9 spell and trap cards, and it worked out fairly well, honestly, like really well for the most part. So I think actually what I would cut is I would cut Adrian, the Ice Jade card. So I'd cut Adrian, and I'd cut all of the other spell cards, which I believe I play 8, and then I'd just put these 9 in place of it, something like that. But yeah, the board breaking stuff was fantastic. Like I said, the Dark Ruler didn't come up. I didn't even side it in once, but the other stuff did come up, and it was pretty darn good. So yeah, that rounds up the deck profile. I think that the side deck will probably stay the same for now. Maybe I'll cut the Dark Rulers for something else. I don't know what I'll cut them for, but maybe I'll cut them for something else. We'll see. The extra deck, like I said, Goyo Defenders are gone. Like, I'm not playing that card. It is very subpar, and I'm not playing subpar cards in my deck. As far as the main deck goes, I think that most of the main deck is good. I think that the Substitute and Dupe Frog need to come out, and I think that Adrian and the Ice Jade Cradles can probably come out, and I can just play the Tremoras and nothing else. So yeah, that's the deck profile. It was kind of a shorter deck profile today because I didn't have too much to say about the deck. It did what I needed it to do for 3 rounds of play, which isn't anything crazy. So don't take this as as a statement of me saying this deck is back to take over the meta, because it's not. But it's fun to play. I enjoy playing it. It requires a lot of thinking, which is something that generally helps me out with my anxiety and all that stuff, because I get to take my mind off of all my stressors and I get to put it into a deck of cards. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. And for right now, this is Drew, Travel with the Burning Abyss, signing out.